Yeah, I mean, Aisha, yeah, I'm still going to come back to you, but it's very instructive to hear you talk about wealth acquisition, as a Muslim faithful, and I'm not sure that we do have a lot of appreciation of it, even within the Muslim faithfuls or the Islamic faithfuls within the country, because I mean, when you talk about riba interest, it's everywhere. Although I do know that if you want to go into it, in more in fuller terms, you could have some percentages that are seem to be negligible. But that aside, so I mean, so when you're talking about investing or doing businesses around prohibited practices, I mean, investing in haram things that are considered to be haram, whether prostitution, whether gambling, and all that. It's just, I mean, it's just instructive to know that from the outset, if you are, then you also mentioned the al-barika concept, that if it's of good origins, definitely it's going to outlive you. That's so proud. That's absolutely profound to understand that. I mean, if I was to put on my secular hat, I'll probably be asking you that. So where are they going to make this wealth from? As in, what are the other avenues? But I do know that there are other avenues. I mean, you could have buying and selling, you could have leasing. There are other different ways. But if you're
There are
someone of
sukuk
the,
investment,
yeah,
area compliant
yeah,
investment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do know that. I do. There's a lot of buying. There's a lot of entrepreneurship that
Yeah.
is encouraged within the Islamic economic space, and all that. So I'm gonna ask you again. Is there a need? I know that we talk about mirats and all that, but let's talk about it. Is there a need for estate planning? And if there's a
Yes.
need for estate planning by Muslims, I mean, because they'll tell you there's already mirats. What am I doing? How do you, I mean, how do you balance that conversation? Because this is about, this is not about, like we've identified and we spoke about in the first panel. Africans don't lack intergenerational families. What we lack, what we don't have, what we've not had the discipline, we've not had the governance for, is intergenerational wealth. So when your outright answer is, oh, there is mirat, anything that happens to the assets. How are we going to have a society that is that kind of I would like to take care of his own and ensures that the community and everyone that is within that society are well taken care of, and there are systems in place that ensure that they are not in penury, but actually that they can thrive because those before them have actually laid the foundation. So is there a need for estate planning? And if there is, what are the tools that a Muslim or someone of the Islamic faith can adopt in planning his or her estate?
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll start with the fact that yes, Islam has a system in place. We have mirrors, and there are rules already stated. These are non-negotiable rules because they are stated in the Quran. Because the Quran, whatever the Quran provides is non-negotiable. However, we understand that planning is important for everybody, for Muslims. We believe in planning so much. If you look at the story of Prophet Yusuf in the Quran, where he had a dream, and I'm sure the narration that we have in the Quran is similar to what we have in the Bible, where he had a dream about there's going to be a famine in future and how he's going to plan towards that. So definitely there's planning. Now, let me speak from the legal aspect, and I'm sure my Mr. Osho will also understand that there's will. You can make your will before you die, right? That's for the common law, for the secular jurisdiction. However, even under Islamic law, we also have wasiya, whereby a Muslim is allowed to make a will. This is a general rule, but it has its own strict exception, or what I would like to say, conditions to it. So before you can make wasiya as a Muslim, your wasiya, when I say wasiya, I mean will. You are trying to give a part of your properties to some of your members of your family. It has to be within the 1/3 of your entire estate, right? So you only have the right to that 1/3. The remaining 2/3 has been taken care of by the Quran, and it has a very beautiful revelation with that. For the child, for all the children, for the wives, for the close relative, there is a percentage, a stated percentage that will go to them, regardless of whether you make a will for them or not. But because we are also talking about estate planning, it's important for every Muslim to ensure that they have a will. There's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad SAW that talks about you making sure that anybody that has a will to write should ensure that he makes a will. He doesn't sleep 2 nights without making a will. So part of the things you need to do as a Muslim is that you list all your properties. This will even give your heirs, it will make it easier for them to identify what properties is to be shared according to the principle of the Sharia. So when you list your properties, and this goes to talk, when we talk about the onshore and offshore properties, you make it easier for them. You list it, you tell them where this is, their documents, you make sure that the documentations are properly made so that it will be easier for them even when they want to go to court to get those properties in place. That's number one. Number two is the fact that when you are making your will, you can also appoint an administrator. I would like to share a personal experience I had. My brother died recently, and he was very young, but it was very easy for us because I'm an expert in Islamic estate distribution, and my dad also is a professor of Islamic law. So there was a way we went about it. So I was imagining if it was somebody who had no idea and they do not even know where to go to when this happened. So interestingly, in Kwara State and in some parts of the northern part of Nigeria, the Sharia court is taking care of this estate distribution for Muslims. Now, rather than the way you go about it under common law, where you have to go through the probate, do all the necessary documentation, this will take years. But the Islamic aspect, what the entire thing we did was to ensure that, okay, we identify who the administrator will be. That has to be somebody that is an expert in Islamic estate distribution, like my dad. And then we went to the Sharia court, gave them the properties, the bank account and all that. And immediately they issued a letter to the banks, and we got the money. We distributed according to he had no will, by the way, and there's actually no, because he was very young, and that's not an excuse anyway, but this is to tell us that we need to start planning for that. Nobody is above that. Even if you are young or you are old, death will come at the right time. So what I'm trying to get at here is that for some jurisdiction, for some states in Nigeria, it's easier for Muslims to plan their estate. Because when you die and you have a list of your properties, you have appointed an administrator, all you need to do is go to a Sharia court or an area court, depending on jurisdiction, and then get them to appoint you as administrator as directed by the person before he died. And then you get all these properties within months. In fact, it wouldn't take more than 3 months to do this. So when we're talking about wills and we are saying that we have a system in place that talks about miras for Muslims, we also identify that yes, you have the right to 1/3 of your estate, your entire estate. You can have your will, you can give it to people you want, especially your close members of family, your children, so that they will continue to live in a very good way even after you die. And so I'll quickly talk about the tools you talked about, the tools of estate planning. So apart from the wasiya, which is the will, we also have gift, hiba. So in your lifetime, you can give some of your properties to those you think are actually in need of it, because you understand your family better than anybody. So you understand, okay, this child will do better if he has this business, if he's running this business, or this child will do better with this estate management and all that. So you can do that with hiba, which is gift. So these are some of the tools that we use. And importantly, also we have these. You can use. We've talked about hiba. We've talked about wasiya. We can also do wakaf. So a Muslim can wakaf his property in his lifetime for the benefit of his families. So we have different types of wakaf, which is to beneficiaries who are not members of your family. And we can also have family wakaf, where you would have stated, so wakaf is just like trust. You understand the trust, the common law trust. So you have that wakaf and you list your beneficiaries who could be, they could be members of your family, your children, and you said that this wakaf, whatever comes out of it, should be used for their education, for their health. So it can be in different ways. So wakaf is an important tool that we can use also as Muslims. And we have hiba, we have wakaf, and these are some of the tools that are there. So when we say that we are restricted to 1/3, we also have other avenues that we can use. Though there is a caveat to that you are doing that, it's not that you're envisaging death and then you want to use that means or those tools to get some people out of the way. So because you know that, okay, the Quran says 2/3 goes to this person, 1/3. So you just want to get all the property while you're alive and get it to the people you are interested in more. So that would not go well, because the Sharia scholars will tell you that no, you do not have rights to your entire property if they are saying that that is the motive behind you. But without that motive and you're just doing it properly to make sure that everybody is okay, then you are okay to do that. So I think that's for the tools. I've mentioned wasiya, I've mentioned hiba, wakaf, and yes, I think that's it. So basically those are the tools for